Scoot close.
We can see us both here.
Oh, you
I just
can?
think we
Okay.
Hey,
can.
everybody.
They can.
Thanks for coming in. Don R., Chris, Johnny Small Pepper. Tonight we got Monty Sheets and Julie.
Julie,
Julie.
yes, Julie
Julie
Fuller.
Fuller.
Monty's the owner of Guard Dog. Julie is the vice president. So tonight we're just here to talk about the new Guard Dog Pro. And if you are on the first contact list, I believe they are available now for you guys until the 22nd. Thanks for you guys coming in. Warren, thanks for coming in, buddy. So tonight, if you guys have any questions about the Guard Dog Pro, just put your comment, just put your questions in the comments and we'll get to them. And also tonight, Monty's going to demonstrate how the Guard Dog works. He's going to set it up and show how it sets off and everything. It's a brand new product on the market, guys. And you guys seen me using them. I've used the Pros, the Guard Dog Pros already. And if you guys go to the website, guarddogproducts.com and use Lance5, you get 5% discount. So if you want money, you guys can introduce yourselves, let people know who you are, and
We'll take it from there, huh?
yep.
Hey guys, I'll tell you what, this is my first live. I just want you to know, so I have no clue really what I'm doing here, so sort of bear with me if you can. But we've came up with a new product that's going to be dynamite for all types of fishing. Whether you're fishing on the bank, whether you're fishing on the boat, whether you're ice fishing, it's kind of a one-trick pony, which is nice to know. But I am Monty. I'm the inventor of the Guard Dog, and I think most of you that will be watching tonight have probably seen me or heard of me or talked to me in one way or another. I want to introduce you to a close family member. This is Julie Fuller. This is the vice president of Guard Dog. She is actually a first cousin of mine. Her father and my mother are brother and sister. So, of course, we've been around each other all of our life, and I respect her talents and abilities. When I'm not available, of course, she'll be running the show, and you guys may be talking to her a lot. So I want to make her face known and her name known. I'll let Julie sort of introduce herself, tell her about her background, and tell her a little bit about why she's so excited about Guard Dog.
Yes, hi guys. My name is Julie, and just last summer I was here visiting, and Monty was telling me about his new product, showed me how it worked, and I said I want to be a part of this. I loved it. So he said, okay. So I've just kind of been working behind the scenes. I don't do a lot of media stuff, or at least not yet. But I do have a background in accounting and banking, legal type things, doing compliance. So just kind of getting together all of our licenses and everything and helping Monty set up this brand new company. So, but we're here to help you. If you have questions, you can email us, call us.
Yeah, guys, we'd be glad to help. Of course, like I say, we're just simple people. We started this business. I actually started this business with an idea and a concept that I had years ago. And I was working at the time. I developed a product for myself to use for fishing. It worked, but it wasn't what I was looking for. Of course, there's been automatic fish hookers, the homemade ones, the plastic ones, you could find the automatic fish hookers out there. They never would suit me. I couldn't find one that I could set up for heavy river currents. I had to bend the thing or change the thing around to try to get it adjusted to where I wanted to adjust it. They were a nightmare, just to be honest with you. I came up and developed the original guard dog. At the end of last year, I started doing all my prototypes, my testing, my manufacturing. Matter of fact, the original guard dog I actually was making in my shop. I hand bent these in my manufacturing, and I was going to start it off as a hobby, just to sort of sell to friends and family members. I had some friends that had fished with it and loved it, and I was going to do it as a hobby. In May of this last year, I decided to put some on eBay, and they took off so quick, it was unbelievable. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to manufacture these on my own. So we decided to actually start our own small company and get manufacturers involved, which was a real nightmare for me because I'd never been dealing with the manufacturers before and didn't realize what concepts I had to come up with in the development. But after going through every single field of ergonomics on this new guard dog, I went through every spec from the body to the nose to the line holder in testing with the manufacturers. And we got it to where I felt like I couldn't get it any better. I couldn't find a fault with it. Guys, the old dogs worked and they worked great. There's been a lot of fish caught on the old dogs. But the new dogs, I'm trying to get that in the camera. The new dogs are absolutely a step up. These are made of aircraft grade 6061 T6 aluminum. Everything on this was designed to work flawlessly, from the length of the arm to the nose to the bend to the contour to the body. Everything was designed, tested, so it absolutely worked. It works amazing. It works absolutely amazing. It only weighs 0.7 of 1 ounce, almost a half an ounce. So you can fit it in a shirt pocket, in a tackle box. They're so lightweight, it's unbelievable, but they're strong. They're rust proof. You don't have to worry about being around the salt water or the moisture. So I feel like we've got a product that no one in the world can touch, and we're happy about that.
All right, Monty, we got a question here.
Sure.
How does it tell the difference between current and bite?
Well, I'll tell you what, the adjustable, we've got a unique trigger system on this. Of course, it's patent pending. And when you'll set up your guard dog, the key to your success for your guard dog is learning your trigger. Your trigger sensitivity settings, from setting up to your heavy river flows to your calm water and anywhere between. Lance, as you know, you fished with these for quite some time now. If you'll adjust it so where the current basically will not allow it to trip the rod, but yet you've got it light enough that when a fish does actually take off and strike, it's going to release the dog. You'll actually adjust it by the current. You'll get a feel for it by the current. If it's triggering because of the current, you'll know it real quick. Just adjust it a little bit heavier until the current doesn't drag it downstream. These have been used, guys, on the mighty Mississippi numerous times with the heavy currents in the Mississippi. It'll handle the currents. I know, Lance, I don't believe you fish a lot of heavy currents, but I know you've run into some currents.
Yeah.
But the trigger system will actually allow this even to slow troll on a boat. That's how heavy you can set it. So don't worry about that. But again, you want to set it as light as you can set it, basically adjusting for current conditions.
So what he's saying, guys, if the bite, you'll know when it's a bite because it'll trigger it. And you'll know.
Yeah, if it's not triggering under the current that you're fishing and all of a sudden it triggers, it's a bite.
So if anybody else has questions, that was Matt, Wannabe Outdoors, that asked that.
Hey, Lance, I believe the best thing we could do right now is to just show them a simple setup.
Yep.
And show them the trigger system. So that way, when we get, sort of done showing that, they'll have a better feel and maybe they can ask some questions based on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to let Julie hold the laptop and I'm going to take you over here to a setup, a little demonstration. I'll let you hold this.
Coming in, Ashley, Wannabe, Big Mike, Huckleberry, Buck Williams.
Guys, I'm going to just show you how easy this is. And excuse me, I'm in an office that's got a room. But you'll fish like normal. Just cast your bait out. And you'll stand your rod in your rod holder in a mostly upright position. It don't have to be all the way up, but the angle of the line coming down is actually what's going to trigger the system. So of course, when this is bent down, the angle will be going out to the water. Your fishing line will be out to the water. It's the snap of the rod that's going to set the hook. Okay. So you don't want it bent down too far, because when you bend it down farther, it may not have enough to really set well. So sand it in sort of an upright position. In a boat, it can be leaning 45 degrees or so on a boat because you're setting up just a little higher and the angle is a little steeper. So if you're boat fishing, which we have a lot of people using these on boats, but you can tilt your rod at a 45-degree angle or a little higher, okay? But I'm gonna let you basically just look down here for a second. Guys, it's as easy as this. When you get your guard dog, you're gonna have your guard dog and a string in the package. You're gonna have a little tension adjuster. Once you cast out your bait, you're just gonna wanna start off with this guard dog roughly 2/3 up the pole, just to give you an idea on pole bend. Just start off just a little bit, 2/3 of the way down. You'll bend your rod down and put your fishing string in this top groove. You'll just put the little nose of the guard dog in the rod tip eye and lift your pole. It's that simple. So again, the tension string will be tied down to your rod holder. It'll go to your rod holder. Normally, I just place it underneath my stake. When I'm putting in my rod holder, I just slide the string underneath my stake and just slide my rod holder down. So the stake holds the tension string. But this string can be attached to anything that'll hold that pole bend. It could be attached to a reel handle if you haven't got anything to attach it to. It can be attached to a ground stake, a tent stake out in front, a tree root, anything that will hold the pole bend with your tension string. I've got mine just attached to my rod holder right now, of course, because I can't put a ground stake in this concrete. But again, it's as easy as bending your rod tip down, putting your little string in that top groove, putting your little nose in the eye, and lifting your pole. It's set. Now, Julie, I'm going to let you take a close look at this if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, this is the secret with the guard dog. This is what makes this so different from everything else out there. If you notice where this tension string attaches to the guard dog, do you see where that little nose is setting in the rod tip eye, the depth? As I move this tension string, that nose will move in deeper. If you notice. Okay, it's just by adjusting. You can see an H for heavier setting. You can see an L over here for a lighter setting. Anywhere you move this string is where your trigger sensitivity setting is going to be. So when I'm fishing really, really heavy currents, I'll be over here on the heavier side to make this nose much deeper into that rod tip. It takes a lot to trip. I mean, it takes a lot to trip when you got that in the heavy setting. Now, if I move that down, just slide the tension string down, say, for example, to a middle setting, that nose went in, if you could see, to a middle position. Okay? So as I move that, if you notice that nose moving in and out, it works the same way in reverse. The farther I move the string to the left towards lighter, the closer that nose gets to tripping. And it's as simple as just sliding your tension string. See how much closer that nose came into tripping? This is your key for your guard dog, is just setting it up to fish with the currents that you want to fish with. I can set this up so light that basically I can set it off with 1/2 ounce sinker on this medium heavy ugly stick pole. So you can set it up just for a hairbreadth. Matter of fact, if you set it too far, you could trip the rod. So just what I do is I just watch this little nose, and I make sure, that I've got it set where it ain't tripping the rod, of course, but I'll set that really, really light on calm waters. It doesn't take a second to actually release that. I mean, it just takes a breath to release that. So, any questions so far, Lance?
Yeah, Wannabe wants to know, can you get longer strings?
Yes,
or is
sir.
that
The new dogs are coming out with 9-foot string, which will adjust up to a 10-foot pole. That'll go basically from a 6.5-foot pole to a 10-foot pole.
He's asking for people from the bank who use 11 to 13-foot rod.
There's 2 ways to do that. Of course, the original string will be set up at 9 foot, but you can actually, Julie, if you look down here, you can actually just add a little extension string to this bottom. Okay, you can add that in that basically a little extra string on your own to make that longer. So that's not a problem.
Yeah, Mike, it should be able to, you'll be able to use it into Missouri. You'll just have to adjust your sensitivity a little heavier for 11 to 12 mile an hour current.
Well, I've never fished the Missouri, but I know, of course, Lance, you're aware, we've had many of our fishermen fish in the Mississippi. So
yeah.
If it's anything like the Mississippi, there's no issues.
Right. So yeah, Mike, it'll be able to handle the Missouri.
You can fish with live bait, guys. I know I fish with live bluegills when I'm catfishing. Again, the key is just setting this trigger. Julie, one more time this way. Just setting this trigger. So when you move that nose, when you adjust that tension string in, you'll see that guard dog come in closer. That nose goes in much deeper. And again, it takes a heavy jerk to set that off. Okay. I mean, you can set it wherever you want to, but it takes a jerk. I don't think you're going to have any problems with any rivers in the U.S.
Here's another question for you. How will it affect the action of a bait casting rod?
Well, you should know this real well, Lance. Not a bit. Not one bit.
Thomas, the thing is, when you use the guard dog, you set your bait casting rod up with the eyes facing the water. And it does not, it doesn't mess with your rod at all.
Guys, I've used these.
Because I set them up on bait casting and the spinning rods.
And for you guys that's concerned about your pole maybe being bent for a long term, that's not a concern. I've spoke with 2 or 3 different manufacturers. Any of the new graphite or fiberglass rods, if you notice, I've got this rod bent at a half bend or almost a half bend. You'll never want to bring it down all the way to a maximum bend, because if a fish does strike, it could put just a little more pressure on it. So you never bend it to a maximum bend. So you only got basically a half to a 3/4 stress on it. It will not affect your rod in any way, shape, or form. If this sets on there, I set one on for a month to test basically. It wasn't an ugly stick. I use ugly sticks, and I use Berkeley's for testing. I want the Walmart type poles to test with, because if they'll handle the Walmart poles, I'm sure the better rods will, do fine.
Right.
But it will not bow your rod. It doesn't matter if your rod is going. When these rods are made, they come in blanks. Of course, most people knows. And they just put the eyes on it any way they want to. It doesn't matter which way this rod bends. It's not going to affect it. Okay, so always fish with your eyes towards the water. That's the way you set your guard dog up. Bait caster, spinning reel, closed face, it don't matter. It doesn't affect anything.
All right, here's another one. Chris, it doesn't have actually no effect on the line, and I've used it with mono and braid. The way it's made, it's all smooth. It doesn't damage your line at all.
Guys, I'll tell you,
It won't spray your line at all.
And as far as your rod tip eye, these are so smooth, and they actually slip out of your rod tip eye so nicely and so smooth. Braided line will actually damage your rod tip eye more than the guard dog will. The guard dog won't create any type of issues with rod tip eyes, any damage that way. A braided line will actually do a little more damage than the guard dog will. So it's safe, it's easy, and just to be honest with you, it actually helps catch those few extra fish, especially when you're fishing with multiple pools. I know I've missed a ton of fish in my lifetime. I'm getting older. I'm 63 years old now. But I've turned my back just for a split second and turned around, and the pole was bent and I couldn't get back to it. Guys, it adds fish to your string. There's no question. It adds fish to your string.
Now, Don, with the wind, you can set it up. If you can set your rod to a 45-degree angle, you'll be able to use the guard dog.
Hey guys, I'm gonna walk back over here. And then if anybody has any more questions, like I said, I'd be glad to demonstrate it. But guys, you can set these up. These dogs, I made these for basically children to be able to operate. I've got 8, 9-year-old children that can set these up with no issue. I needed it simple. I wanted something that was durable. I had a lot of people tell me, Monty, the way you're designing these things, they won't come back and buy them in 2 or 3 years because they'll last forever with this heavy aluminum. And I said, that's what I want. I'm not looking for repeat sales in 2 years. I want them passed down to grandchildren. So like I say, I think everyone that uses them, the old dogs worked well, but they would rust. They wasn't as quick a trigger. This new machine design trigger is so smooth and so rounded that when that triggers, I mean, it's absolutely like silk. And again, it's all in just adjusting the tension string on the body to set your trigger. Very, very, very simple.
Mike, on the circle hooks, they work perfectly fine. They work good with J hooks, circle hooks, and the tail hooks.
Matter of fact, I've had some of the pros that we've had on our team, Lance. You know as well as I do, that's all they fish with is their circle hooks. But they're telling me that the slight pressure that it takes for that guard dog to release, that slight pull pressure, actually slides that hook right to the corner of the mouth where it's supposed to. And guys, the whip of that pull will set a hook. It will definitely set a hook.
I know it works on the circle hook because that's all I use.
Yeah, circles, J's, Kales, it doesn't matter. I know Randy Cura, one of our other pro staff, is using those little special octopus type hooks for carp on his carp shows.
Mm-hmm.
But the nice thing about it is, when I fish to eat the fish.
Right.
I'm not a CPR, guy myself. Now, if it's too small or if it's too big, I'll release them. If I'm not going to eat it, I release it. But
on the angle of the pole, wannabe, when I'm out fishing this spring for catfish, I'll set up the rod where it's angled a little.
Yeah, rod
like
won't
you were
hurt.
saying, on the boats, the guys are setting them up at a 45-degree angle, and they're trolling with them. So if it's angled a little,
Yeah, that won't hurt anything, guys. If it's got an angle to it, that won't hurt anything. It's just you got to remember when your rod is bent, the farther the swing is back, the harder the hook set. Of course, if you're setting at a 45-degree angle and you bend that rod, it's going to still hook it, but it won't be quite as strong because it won't have as much of a swing. I hope that makes sense.
I've noticed using it. I like setting my the tension on mine a little bit. I like that bend in the rod, so it does when it whips back. It does set the hook. So maybe if you just got to play with it once you get it. Play with the tension. Once you figure out your sensitivity, play with the tension. If you miss a fish, because it's not 100% guaranteed you're going to hook up every time. Nothing's 100% guaranteed.
No. Guys, fish will bite on the bait without having the hook in its mouth.
You just got to play with the tension. You'll learn, like I had to. You set the tension, then you set your sensitivity. If you get a strike and you miss it, maybe you got to set the tension a little bit more to get that rod to bend a little bit more, where you get a better swing, where that rod swings up a little more.
No, Lance, actually that's wrong.
Really?
Actually, that's wrong. Yes. Because basically, if you've got enough rod bend to have any type of whip, of course, you're going to set the hook. It may not be as deep, but it's going to stick the fish. Okay. but the thing I'm saying about the rod bend, all that is giving you more, I guess, power. The farther it comes back, the more whip you're going to set that. You're going to actually set that hook, a little harder.
Right.
But it doesn't matter if on the sensitivity, as long as you've got enough whip in that line, that pole, when that fish is on it, that string is taut. As long as you got enough whip to hook that fish, you're going to be good. But a lot of the fishermen that I know, and in me myself, I like a little heavier tripping on the rod because I really want to set the hook deeper. Okay, but it's not so much about the rod bend. It's not so much about the rod bend. As long as it's got enough whip in it, it's going to stick a fish. It's more about the sensitivity on the trigger that allows the guard dog to trip. If it trips, like I say, it's not going to be 100%, guys, because just like when we're fishing out there, we might see the line take off running and we try to set the hook and we miss. Well, hey, the fish might have had the bait and not the hook. The hook might have been basically in the place in the mouth where it's just, if you try setting the hook, it's going to come out. Nothing's going to be 100%, but the guard dog's reaction time is so much faster than a human's. When we see a rod pulling or a fish striking, we reach down, we grab it to bring it up, or we reach down. Of course, I have used bait casters a lot in my life with circles, and I got used to just running over there and trying to reel in real quick. Well, there are times that works, and at times it might be a little too late. The fish has felt it and spit it out. The second a fish takes off and trips that, it's automatic. There's no hesitation. It's instantaneous. And a human's reaction time will never, ever, ever be as quick as a guard dog. Ever.
All righty. Anybody got any more questions?
If you're night fishing, guys, I'll tell you what, like I say, I'm getting a little older. I can't watch my rod tip quite as well as I used to, or the fishing line like I used to. They're a dream come true. If you're fishing with, 4, 5, 6 poles. Now, me, myself, guys, I fish like normal. I'll set, in Indiana, you're allowed 3 poles. I'll set a guard dog on 1 or 2 poles, and I'll fish with one myself. I might cast with one. I might just watch one. I still fish as normal. I use the guard dogs on the poles. I don't have to watch as close.
What's up, Richard? Yes. Wannabe wants to know, what colors do they come in, Monty?
Well, guys, I'll tell you what, there's 7 colors. And again, I'm sorry, I'm not used to this filming. But this, you can't hardly see it, but this is a real dark green. You have, Lance, this is your favorite, I think, is the orange. That's the one that shows up so good at night.
That one shows really good.
You have a pink that's really, and guys, this camera's not going to show you. They're really, really, really a lot better looking in picture than in person. But you've got a yellow gold.
I don't know if you can see, it shows made in USA.
Yeah, can you see that purple though?
Can see, they all have made in USA.
Yeah, guys, these are all USA made. We won't deal with nothing outside.
There's the red.
There's your blue and the red. So there's yellow, green, orange, pink, purple, red, and blue. These are all anodized, guys. They're all anodized. Like I say, over the 6061 T6 aluminum. So again, they ought to last a lifetime.
Warren said he likes to put a bell on the guard dog when he's fishing at night so he knows when it falls.
There you go. There you go. Randy Cura does the same thing in his videos. He puts a bell because he's normally 30 yards away from his pole when one takes off. But that's what they're made for, guys. They're made. And I'll tell you another really, really nice thing about the guard dogs is we're coming to find out. I don't know if any of you have children, but if you're like me, I had 5 children that I raised. And when we went camping, of course, I was out there helping them, fish. I was getting the bobbers out of the tree limbs. I was putting the bait on. I was, doing whatever I needed to do, make sure they wouldn't fall in the river. You can set a couple pools up for yourself while you're helping the kids out, watching the kids, taking care of things like that. And you can actually fish a little bit, which is nice. I use mine a lot. Of course, like I said, at nighttime, I like doing a lot of night fishing. But when you're on a text, when you're starting a campfire, when you're just, getting in the cooler for a drink, you cannot watch your poles every second of the day. It's just impossible.
And the nice thing is it'll let you, with the guard dogs, you'll be able to spread your rods out further apart and you won't have to worry. Once the fish grabs that hook and he sets the guard dog off, he's on there.
Well, I think you really have to see him work.
Yeah.
To understand how well they work. I mean, it's easy to set in here in an office and show you how to set one up. You can set one up in just a few seconds. They're so simple. They're so easy. But until you actually see that guard dog set the hook on a fish and that pole bending over with that fish on the other end of the line, again, it'll make a believer out of you. They truly work great. And I'll tell you what, guys, I know last year I run into some weather. Me and a friend was fishing. And we was fishing pretty, we had our pickup truck closer to the bank, but it started to downpour. I mean, the weather got nasty. We left our rods up. Hey, we caught 9 fish that night. When the guard dog went off, we went out there, we fought it in. We got a little wet, but we got back in the truck. They really, really help put a few more fish in the frying pan.
Now, does a fast rod tip help better with the guard dogs?
You know what? Yes, it will, because it'll provide a little more snap. But again, it's not so critical. A medium rod tip will work really well because it's still got enough whip to set that hook. You just got to sort of picture in your mind, if that string, again, if you've got your rod bent and that string's coming down, it's that whip that's setting that rod or that hook. So a faster tip is probably a little better for the hook set, but it doesn't make a huge difference.
And the nice thing also, guys, when you cast out, you set your guard dog up. If your line is slack, you can reel the slack in without setting the guard dog off.
Correct.
So you can get your line tight.
Which reminds me, though, I am going to give you guys a little tip for you guys that's using your dogs or getting ready to use your dogs. Make sure when you set your guard dog up in the rod tip eye, the fishing line ain't underneath of the little nose hooked to the eye.
Yeah.
Okay, because that can avoid reeling in any slack. So you want to make sure that fishing line sort of slides free once you got your guard dog set up in the rod tip eye. Just make sure your string could move back and forth. I'm going to give it to Julie just for a second. I'll be right back.
One of the things I love about guard dog is the name. Put a guard dog on duty because they watch your fishing poles for you and you don't have to. So when I'd met Monty this summer, he had already come up with that name. And now I see why, because they are on duty all the time and they're faster than a human. So,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Wannabe. You can put a glow stick. You could probably tape it right to the where that bend is in the guard dog. Let me show you where I'm talking about. Uh, so if you want to put a glow stick, you could probably tape it right here to the guard dog, and you'll be able to see that too when you're fishing at night. But
Yeah,
a lot of us YouTubers, when we're out fishing, we're usually we have our Compex light set up and everything. So
well, guys, again, let us say if you're using multiple poles, which most do, and you want to catch a few extra bonus fish, fish like normal, fish just like you normally do. And Lance, I know a lot of times when you fish, you'll put a guard dog on one or two poles, and you'll have one or two poles without it.
yeah,
And that's nice because you know what? You can still fish like you always did, but with those guard dogs on the other poles that you don't have to watch as close. I know in your lives it makes it a little easier for you because you don't have to, you can actually talk to your viewers instead of having
right,
to watch every second. But for
yeah,
the normal everyday guy or gal, I'm telling you, we all get busy. We all get on our phone to do text. We're all daggone changing bait on another rod, or we're casting out, or we're fighting a fish on another rod. You always get busy. You can't be next to a pole every second.
yep,
And I'll tell you, the guard dogs are absolutely ideal for those multiple pole fishers. We're getting a lot of people as well, guys, that's got poor eyesight, that may have a little handicap, that can't, maybe in a wheelchair. We're getting a lot of customers that are really, really enjoying the fact that they've got older parents that love to fish but can't quite see as well, or haven't got the motor skills quite like they used to. There's several benefits to that, but the main benefit is again, a human's reaction time is not going to get that pole picked up and swung back instantly. A human's reaction time can't do that. You never know when that fish is going to strike, and you never know when that fish is going to strike and then let go of the bait. Well, with the guard dogs on duty, you don't have to worry about that. When that fish pulls and releases that guard dog, it automatically sets that hook. So the odds are a lot greater catching more fish with a guard dog than on your own. There's no way about it. I mean, it's physics, so to speak. And Lance, I'm going to make your audience a little special offer tonight.
all right,
I've got some of your viewers that I'm sure that was waiting for their special 3-day ordering period for several months. Guys, it took us several months to get this exactly how I wanted it. It took several months of the manufacturer making tooling, the coining for the dies. If any of you use tool and die makers, you know what it takes to coin the nose and the top grooves. It takes a little process. So I've had people on a waiting list for the last 3 or 4 months that's been waiting patiently. I gave them a special 3-day purchasing period, but just for the viewers on here tonight, I can't see who's on here. I can't see who's watching. You can, I can't. But if they order today or tomorrow, I'll allow them, if they're not on the first to contact list, as a special for being on your show, if they want to place an order, I'll let them do so. As well as any of your viewers, Lance, I can't see them again, but any of your viewers, if they'll contact you and give you their mailing information, I'll send them out a free Guard Dog logo sticker, a nice 4-inch. Let's see if I've got one here available someplace.
All right, guys, you heard it. If you
But there'll be a nice 4-inch Guard Dog vinyl weatherproof sticker. So if you can give your Lance your mailing information, he can relay that to me. I'll get you guys out a sticker just for being special guests tonight. Again, it's my first live show. I hope I didn't scare a lot of people off tonight, but again, I think it's really, really important for those people that don't know about a guard dog to actually understand the simplicity behind it and the effectiveness behind it. They actually work great.
Buck Williams said they'll work good when you go to the bushes to pay the parking meter.
The bushes.
Yep. Well, you gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh yes.
Joe said, he says, I take it these fall under some rules and as tip-ups for legal regulations in each state.
Well, you know what? That's a very, very good question because I've had that question asked me several times.
Hey, Maurice.
The nice part about the guard dog, guys, in certain states, mechanical spring-operated devices are illegal. And there's a few states out there that, you know, they have the old yo-yos they attach to, you know, trees that have spring-operated mechanism. They've had different operations that way. And matter of fact, I had this question even asked from somebody in Canada. With a guard dog not having any springs or any mechanical operation, it's just holding a rod tip down with a rope. It avoids the regulations in most every state that we found. I've not found a state yet that the guard dog's illegal in based on the rules. So we're really, really blessed. A guy from Canada, it's a tackle dealer from Canada, actually asked me the same question, and he looked it up in his guidelines in Canada, and he said it's the only automatic fish hooker that's basically legal up there because it isn't spring operated.
All right, that's good to know. Yeah, Fishing and Freedom said that's a good looking sticker. Also, guys, on the website, the hats that Monty and Julie are wearing, you can purchase those also.
Yeah, guys, and anything you go on our website for, it's free shipping. You know, we're not like a lot of the other companies that, you know, your guard dogs at being under $20 for a tool made out of such a high grade aluminum, comes with the tension string, the adjuster that works so well. I wanted something that the average hardworking guy could afford. I didn't want to make a $50 or $100 item. I wanted something under $20 that the average hard-working average day worker could afford. Because guys, it's getting a little tight out there in the economy in a lot of places. And if someone can take this out, if they can add a fish or two or three onto a stringer because the guard dog helps them catch them extra fish, that's an extra meal or two for that family. So, you know, we wanted it affordable. We wanted it built to last. We didn't want nothing cheap and chimsy, but we didn't want to charge, you know, like a lot of companies, they'll charge a lower price and then get it all in the shipping. Shipping is free of charge on anything we sell.
Also, guys, if you go to the website, you can use my discount code for 5% off. It's Lance5.
And this is the first time that's available. This is the very first time that's available. We opened the website up today. Matter of fact, last night, I was telling Lance earlier, we had some issues with people trying to order this morning. I woke up to some issues with credit cards and some PayPal orders being denied. And come to find out, I called the banks or the credit card company and PayPal to find out why these people couldn't purchase, one of our items. And it comes out that the numbers came in kind of strong and they thought it was fraudulent activity. They had filters through their system that said, hey, this could be fraud. And they denied several people. So I had to go back and contact some people. We got it straightened out through the bank or the credit card company. You can go to our website, which is www.guarddogproducts.com. You can use a debit card or a credit card, but you cannot use PayPal yet. PayPal, they said they was going to turn over to a review to get it straightened out. It could take up to 5 days. So PayPal may not be available until they get back and they fix issues on their side. But again, I'm thankful that it's trying to protect our business with fraud, or scammers. I just don't think they realized that our numbers was going to jump up like that, and it sort of scared them.
Yeah. You guys got any more questions?
Guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. If you ever have any questions, like most people that may be watching that have had contact with me, you can message me. My Facebook is Monty Sheets, MONTYSHEETS. Send me a message, send me a text, whatever you need to do. I'll try to get back with you as soon as possible. I'd be glad to help you. Be glad to answer any questions you have.
Yeah, Wannabe asked if it would work with the PayPal debit card.
That I don't know, because PayPal actually put our account on a hold. And the person I spoke with, you know how that goes, trying to speak with someone on the line, was not the right person to speak to. And she said she had to forward it to a certain department. I asked her if I could actually speak with that department, and that wasn't allowed. So some review team has to go through and call me, and I have to explain what we're doing. And we just opened the website, and the numbers are for real. So we've had a great response. Again, we appreciate everybody's business. But again, I think word of mouth is what's going to make this company grow beyond what, we can take it. When you see these things out there fishing, and Lance, I know you've had a few times where people's walked up and inspected them and asked to buy them from you. It happens to me every time I go fishing. Someone will see me hook a fish or two with a guard dog, and they'll say, where can I get them? Well, at the time, I was just like anybody else. They're not available yet. We're still in the manufacturing stage. They're not available yet. Guys, I'll tell you, they're available as of today. So if you decide this is something you might want to try out, I think you'd be really happy with the results you get.
And also for you boat fishermen, these have been tested in waters as deep as 120 feet.
122 feet on the Mississippi.
122 feet, and they still set the hook.
That's right. Well, actually, the fisherman that was fishing the Mississippi that actually was using the depth finder that day had told me, and of course he's been fishing for many, 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 many years, that it actually probably sets a little harder than you can actually set because of the spine of the pole, the way the spine of the pole is. All that whip actually creates a little stronger hook set. Guys, it'll hook through bone. I mean, it'll set a hook.
Yeah, and with the circle hooks, like you were saying earlier, I've had them set perfect in the corner of the mouth. So
Right. Circles. You know what? I would guess 75% of the people using the dogs today are using circles. I would guess probably 75%. I use both. Of course, I grew up with J hooks. I went to circles when I started using my bait casters. It depends on what type of fish I'm fishing for. You know, if I'm fishing for channel cats versus carp versus, you know, something else. You know, it depends on what, but it doesn't matter if it's a circle or a J hook. It's going to hook them really, really nice.
And we got Mike Turner. He shared out your Facebook, so people will be able to get to your Facebook.
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, hey, if you go to the website, of course, you can see if you go into the instruction view or instruction section, I've actually got a little instructional setup demo like I gave you here. Only it's probably a lot better video instruction where you can see it a little clearer. You're welcome to visit the website and just go into the instructions and watch that video if you have any more questions on the setup. You can see videos in the video section of different, you know, scenarios with the dogs hook and fish. These have been just working great on the walleye. Like I say, stripers here in Indiana. I've got several people down in Lake Monroe in southern Indiana, striper fishing, just having a tremendous success with them. Of course, the cats. You can catch bluegills on it if you want to. You can set the trigger system up where it'll trigger with a bluegill, or you can surf fish with it. That's why I say that patent pending trigger system is the key to the dogs.
Yep, this year I'm gonna set it up for some panfish, bluegill, just to show people that it works on the bluegills and stuff.
Guys, I'll tell you what, it'll amaze you. They'll flat amaze you. Again, you don't want to set it so light. I always keep my hand on the rod while I'm setting the thing really, really light. That way, if it does flip up, I'll let go easy. I can catch the rod. But you can set that where you can just breathe on if you want it to trigger. I mean, you can set it as heavy as you want or as light as you want or anywhere in between. That way it covers all type of fish and all type of water conditions. Again, it's a sort of a do-it-all with one simple little tool.
Now, if you're a flathead fisherman and you use a float, will it work with a float on there?
If it pulls the string tight, you know what I'm saying? The only way you're going to activate that guard dog is if the string's tucked. Okay, so if a bobber's on top of the water and it goes under, but that string ain't tight, it's not going to trigger.
And another question I've had in the past is, now you know how some fish, they'll grab that hook and bait and they'll swim towards you.
Right.
Will that guard dog set off if they?
No. It's just like basically you setting a hook. Of course, if you're fishing as normal and it swims towards you, you reel in as fast as you can to try to get that line tight.
Yeah.
With a guard dog, if it goes away from the pole, left, right, straight, whatever, it's going to pull the line, of course. But if it's swimming towards you, that's not going to really help you in that situation.
Alrighty. Well, we got Don R. He said he's going to get him 3. Matt said he's going to buy him a few for himself and a couple others.
I think once you have them in your hand and look at the quality of these items, and once you put these on a rod and you see the smoothness of this new coin nose, I'll tell you, Lance, I don't know if you can tell a difference or not, but boy, I'll tell you what, the trigger system is just sweet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sweet. And again, for $19.95, guys, just to be honest with you, I know a lot of people, if you're like me, that say, well, I'll just try one and buy it just to see, and you ain't losing. You know what? I'm not even going to go there. I'm going to sort of make you a dare. for $19.95. If it don't work for you, there's something really, like I say, it's going to be really, really rare for that to happen because they work for everybody.
You guys have any more questions?
Lance, tell Don R I want pics and videos.
You hear that, Don? We want some picking videos.
Yeah, I know
Because I
Don.
know he fishes on the boat and on the bank too.
Yeah, I know Don's been using them. So, like I say, again, until you have them in your hands and you actually fish with them, I don't really think a person can understand, Lance, the value in them and
Yeah.
and the effective. When you see them work for the first time, you're an instant believer. You're just
That's right. Don said he has the old style. He has the original guard dog and he loves it.
Well, and these are just really truly a step up in build. They're just really truly step up in build.
Yes, they are.
19
guys, they will not bend because I tried bending them with all my might, man, and they will not bend.
Well, that aircraft gate, I could have went cheaper, guys. I really could have made these cheaper. I could have sold them for $4 or $5 cheaper if I'd have made them cheaper. But we want guard dog known like your DeWalt's and your Makitas or whatever, your name brand drills. We want to be known as a quality item. And there is nothing that we're going to sell or put on our web that isn't quality. You won't see chintzy. You won't see cheap. Of course, the original dogs, for what they were really nice.
Yep.
But they won't compare to having one that was specially designed and tooled specifically for this, ergonomics that's on the new dogs.
Don R for ice fishing, they work too. If you want to see some videos on that with the dogs working through the ice, look up Randy Cora fishing here on YouTube.
Yeah, it's called Let's Go Fishing with Randy. And he had, I don't know if you've seen it, Lance, but he had a nice little video with the guard dog versus the jaw jacker.
Yep.
Where the dogs work really well on ice. So I say you can fish from bank, boat, ice, all with the same, little half-ounce, tool. So they're really like Randy said, they're sort of a one-trick pony. They really are.
Matt says, "Wanna be outdoor?" Says, "Thank you, Monty, and the beauty."
I'll tell you what, and guys, again, I brought Julie in specifically. I know a lot of you, you've never seen me in person. This is the first live I've ever done. And I told Lance, I said, I'll do it on one condition. You read the screen and you ask the questions, because I don't know. I'm so naive to this stuff. Like I say, being 63 years old, I'm just not real computer oriented, but Julie is actually going to become more and more involved with all of you guys. You'll be dealing a lot with her and myself through any of your future needs and your future questions. I'm proud to have her, beside me in this company. She's a big asset, but again, we're at the point right now where just taking off today, we're going to look at numbers. But guys, I'll tell you what, the numbers we're seeing so far has been really, really tremendous. We only ordered 5,000 of these for the first order, and we're hoping we make it, the next 2 or 3 weeks. Because each time I place an order, it's a month and a week out. So I've sort of got that fine line between having the manufacturers and the anodizers manufacturing it and keeping it in stock for the public. So if you get a chance, get on the website, take a look at it. If you're interested, try a few. Again, the only way you're going to know is try a few, but if there's ever any issues or any questions or Lance, out of all the dogs I've sold, I've never had one person come back and comment and say, "Hey, I want my money back. This don't work right, or this is junk, or this." I've never had an issue. I've built them to work.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, you see the one video, the one short I put up when I was fishing this past summer. The two guys, the one guy knew what the guard dog was because he walked up and said, "Hey, that's a guard dog," but I've never seen it work. How he knew about it is beyond me, but that day he got to see the guard dog actually catch a fish.
Well, it's funny because when I first went to market, again with the old dogs, I was hand making them. I went to market just on eBay. I was only in a handful of catfish groups, but I went to to market through eBay in May of this last year. So that was about 7 months ago is when the very first dogs were sold. So we're fairly a new company, compared to most companies, but we're already in 46 states. The name's really starting to pick up. And guys, I've had people from Europe, from Mexico, from Canada, from Germany. You wouldn't believe the people that's tried to say, "Will you ship them over here?" Of course, I'm not shipping them outside the U.S. We want to concentrate on U.S. business only. Down the road through the years, yeah, we may do that, but I'm really not too worried about it.
Now, the guard dog hoodies, will they be available to the public eventually?
Eventually they will, but folks, I'll tell you again, starting out as a small company, I want to put most of the small amount of funds that we have to work with. Of course, we're not millionaires, and we started off basically just doing what we could to get the right product, a good quality product, and it's not cheap, but I want to focus on getting as many guard dogs out there to the public because I know the people's been wanting them and waiting for them. In the next couple months, we'll go more and more in towards the apparel. But right now, for the first few months, we're going to be focused on getting the country aware. 99% of the country doesn't know we exist yet. But
Right.
as people fish with these, they tell their friends, they tell their family. Word of mouth, guys. If you got a good product, word of mouth is what's going to make you grow, and that's what we're focused on.
Don R, for color at fishing at night, I would suggest getting the orange. That really stands out. The orange color really pops at night.
Yeah, I know when you're live, Lance, it really stood out well. The red and the orange both stood out pretty well for you.
Yeah. So if you like red, you can get the red and the orange. Those two I noticed by just using those two at night. Those two do stand out a lot.
Have you had a chance to let Otter fish with a purple one yet, Lance?
No, it's too cold for her.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I actually told her one night, I grabbed the guard dogs. I said, "I'm taking your purple out." She goes, "You better not."
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, that purple and we call it pink, but it's actually more of a mauve color. I don't know if you can really see that well.
Yeah.
I'm so bad with the camera, but I'll tell you what, guys, they're really, really a good looking color too. They really are. Of course, I've had several of the men really liking the purple color, and boy, I wish my lights was better. But yeah, when you see them in person, they're going to look a lot better than this camera's showing them.
Yeah. Do they pop under black light?
No. I'll tell you what, guys. You know what? I was trying to find a supplier that actually handled neon in the anodized. There ain't none. I mean, there just is none. I contacted 7 manufacturers, and they sort of laughed at me when I said neon anodizing. But the nice thing about that is, guys, is if you decide you want a certain color, say for example, you say, well, I'm going to buy this guard dog, but I really want a neon orange. As long as you just tape this little nose up, you can spray that any color you want to spray it, and it will not affect it. You just want to leave the nose unpainted so it's nice and smooth and slick to pull out of that eye. But you can paint that any color you want to paint that, and it will not affect the dog at all. So that's an option.
Just glow in the dark paint.
Yeah, you can go whatever color paint you want to go, glow in the dark, neon, whatever you want to use. Just tape up that little nose.
Yeah, that's what Buck Williams said. He said you can always paint it with glow paint.
That's it. That's it. That's it. But with the anodized and with the aluminum, again, like I say, you don't have to worry about rust. You don't have to worry about salt, getting to it. And, we got, of course, Lance, we got a lot of ocean fishermen and saltwater fishermen too.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that when it was out there in that 125-degree weather out on the ocean in California or Florida or wherever else, that there wasn't anything that was going to affect it. It should last a lifetime. It should, unless you actually lose it or step on it or bend it some certain way. But they ain't really flimsy, Lance. They're pretty solid.
No, even if you step on it, because I tried that one too.
Well, like I said, I don't think I'd try that myself, but still, I mean, they're made to last. They're made actually to last. This isn't a little cheap toy. It's a tool. This is a really, really high quality tool, fishing tool.
So does Julie fish?
I do fish. I lived in Texas. I'm up in Indiana now, but the last 30 years I lived in Texas. So I did even offshore fishing, redfish and trout and just different bay fishing. So, of course, that was before the guard dog was invented. So now that I'm up here with Monty, I'm going to be fishing, in the lakes here in Indiana. You'll probably see us do some videos. We might maybe do a fishing video or something.
And guys, I don't know if any of you online is near the Indiana area, but of course we have a fishing expo that we'll be at in, I believe it's Danville, Indiana. It's just south of Indiana or Indianapolis. It's called Danville. It's the Indiana Fishing Expo. It'll be a 2-day event on February 4th and 5th. We'll have 2 booths set up with me and another one of our pro staff brothers. Lance will be there helping us out. We're going to have live demonstrations again for the public. Stop by the booth if you're around this way. We'd be glad to meet you.
Yeah, Indiana. Chris lives in Indiana.
Yeah, if he gets towards the end, it's just south of Indianapolis, just basically outside of southern, it's not, 10, 15 minutes from the airport?
Yeah, it's just west of the airport.
Just west of the airport in Indiana.
Buck Williams said, Monty, make sure you put that pretty lady in your video thumbnail.
Yeah, I'll do that. Well, I'll tell you what, Buck, you're going to be seeing a lot more of her too. She'll be in a lot of videos. She'll be doing a lot more. Again, she handled all of the business setup. Of course, I trusted her business skills to get the business handled and all the legal matters taken care of. But now she's going to be getting in. Not only will she be handling all the accounting matters and the business and the legal matters, but she's going to be getting a lot more involved with the company. So you guys are going to see her a lot.
Yeah, and during the summer, we can set up again, Monty. Anytime you're out fishing, because during the summer I fish 24. Once Friday hits, I'm out right after work. I get home, I pick Audra up, we head to the bait shop, and we're out all night until the next morning. So,
well, you know me, I'll fish as much as I can fish. Of course, business, business permitting. But Lance, I'm going to try to swing up that way this summer sometime, and maybe me and you and Julie could spend a weekend up there doing some fishing.
Yeah, sure can. Hey,
So,
Potomac River Monster, thanks for coming in, Smoke. Richard said that'd be good for broke pose at yard sales.
for what?
He says, bet you could take a broke pole from the yard sale and use the guard dog on them from the bank.
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
you can get them to bend.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what's nice about the dogs. Again, you know, the trigger system is the key, guys. I'll tell you what, that's the patent, that's the specialty. The way that this trigger is designed, let me show you something here real quick. I drew most of your, when I originally was making a homemade trigger system fish hooker years ago, I was trying to explain this to my son earlier. But if you notice, most of your homemade fish hookers was made out of a coat hanger. They were bent. They had a little nose similar to the guard dog nose, and they come down and had just a groove on the outside edge. The line come down, of course, and held the pole in place. They would work. Let me go this way, I guess. They would work, but of course, you really, I mean, you couldn't adjust the sensitivity. You had to bend them to adjust, you know, the sensitivity on the thing.
Right.
Well, with that one little anchor point, which most everything out there is used to, with that one little anchor point for that string, the only way you could adjust it is here on the end. With that guard dog, with that full trigger adjustment, with that whole trigger adjustment, just by sliding that string to move that little nose one way or the other way. Again, my hands are not.
There you go. You're right there.
But with that string just setting that little nose deeper or closer to tripping, it is so ideal as far as on the different fishing scenarios. I mean, you can adjust it to fish almost any condition you want to fish with it. And adjusting it just takes, you know, a second. There ain't no bending and having to rebend and look at it and trying to figure it out. Hey, just slide that string a little bit and it's good to go.
Yep. He's talking about Fishing and Freedom's talking about bank pose, like what most places call them diddy pose or limb line.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again, like I say, if that rod will bend and that fish takes off, it's going to trip the dog. I mean, as long as that rod's got snap, it's going to set the hook.
Yeah.
Now if you take a light pole, Lance, I've tested these with some ultralights, and you would not believe with a lightweight or an ultra lightweight pole, man. I mean, you don't even have to breathe on it. I mean, you can set that so light, it's unreal. Of course,
Yeah.
the heavier the pole, the more tension is on that rope, that tension string. You know, the heavier the pole, the more weight is pulling that down. With a real light pole, I'm telling you what, it don't take nothing to set that hook. That's why these people, like I say, bluegill fishing and stuff, they don't want a real strong hook set because they don't want it busting through a crappie or a bluegill's mouth. A little light pole and you'll have some fun. I'll tell you, they're fun.
Chris wants to know, what's your favorite lake to fish in Indiana?
Well, you know what? I like Lake Monroe. Of course, I was in southern Indiana for 25 years down there in Bedford. I lived in Bedford. And we were sort of blessed. We had Lake Patoka, which was south of us about a half hour, and we had Lake Monroe, which was north of us about a half hour, and then we had White River running right through Bedford. My father and mother got a little older in age, was having some health issues, and I moved back up this way about probably about 12, 13 years ago. And of course, my father just passed away last week. Of course, Lance, you remember, you know that.
Yeah.
I'm still, helping out mom, but Southern Indiana was my favorite place to fish. I mean, I just loved it. I still fish the White River towards Noblesville, Indiana. I'll fish Kokomo Reservoir up here. I fish a little place in Greentown, Indiana called Wildcat. It's basically just like a creek, but it runs out of the lake for several miles. But it's hard to beat Lake Monroe. I love to striper fish. I love to carp fish. Lance, I'll tell you what, you get in some of them grass carp and those buffalo carp, and it's just a blast. It's just a blast.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love catching carp, man, because I'm hoping to actually hook into one this year with the dogs. Seeing Randy use them.
I'll tell you what, they do. They work just, but again, they work on anything. I'll tell you, a lot more people are using them for walleye, pike. Of course, they've caught gar with these dogs. You can see videos of the guard dog catching garfish.
Yeah.
You know how tricky they can be.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they'll basically work for about any type of fishing you want to. And the boat, I'll tell you, the boat fishing is just equally enjoyable, because again, you could set up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different poles out there. Just put 1 or 2 on the back of the boat you don't have to pay attention to. You hear it go off. Lance, you hear it. You don't have to see it. You can hear it go off. But you do add a couple more fish, I call them bonus fish. I call them, bonus fish.
Right.
But again, I love eating catfish. I love eating, fish that's not too big, not too small. But hey, I'll tell you what, if you can catch that 1, 2, 3 extra fish when you're out there fishing, that's another meal or two. And I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, Eddie Gross said White River here in Indiana got some good fishing spots.
They do smallmouth. Of course, I've done some smallmouth fishing on there, but you can get into a real nice channel. You can catch a few flatheads out of White River. That's decent.
You know where Sullivan's at?
Yes, down south.
Indiana Chris said you got to go to Sullivan sometime.
I've been through that way, Chris. Again, like I say, I live so close to Lake Monroe and Patoka. I just sort of, it sort of spoiled me being, I guess the drive was closer.
Yeah. Especially nowadays.
Yeah. Well, like I say, I've got some friends that, again, they're big striper fishermen, and man, I'll tell you what, they're putting some poles rigged up, spider rigging some poles, and just slow trolling Lake Monroe with these dogs on, and man, they're having a heck of good success. I mean, they're having some really good success.
I know in May, I'm gonna try them out on the boat, because we have that get together at Lake Mendota here in Wisconsin, and Fishing and Freedom. He brings his boat up. He brought his boat last year. I didn't get to fish on his boat last year, but this year I'm gonna get on there with him, and we're gonna try. We're gonna put the dogs to work from the boat.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, they do an excellent job. Again, that's the versatility, Lance. That's what we was talking about, a week or so ago. They're just so versatile as far as in all the different ways you can fish with them.
Right. Don R said his order is in TU. I don't know what TU is.
NTU. I don't know either, but tell him I appreciate it. We'll get him out to him as soon as we can. But I don't know what he's talking about. TU.
What do you mean by TU, Don R? Oh, his order is in. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, Don, thank you, brother. Thank you. And guys, don't forget before you leave, be sure and shoot Lance a message. And we'll make sure, like I say, if Lance could get me your names and addresses, we'll give you some of these brand new Guard Dog logos sent out to you just for your questions and for joining us tonight. Again, we appreciate just talking with you. It took me a while to agree to do this, but I thought this is the perfect time to do it. The dogs are just now being released.
Let the dogs loose today.
We let the dogs loose today.
Wannabe, that's in May. Mother's Day weekend, I believe, is when Mendota is. Yeah, they got some big channel cats down there in Mendota. It's a nice lake.
Is that in Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's in Madison.
In Madison.
Yeah. It's like right smack dab in the middle of Madison.
Well, I've never heard of that.
But it's known for its channel cats. They got some nice smallmouth and pike. It's a nice lake. I like it.
Well, get out there, like I say, and get some of them more burbots too, Lance. We need to get you some more burbots.
Yeah, I know. It's been slow now.
Well,
I'm gonna try it tomorrow.
Hopefully that bait you got might help you out a little bit.
Yeah, that bait. That's carp. So be first time using it on burbot. I'm gonna try that tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, baits. I mean, that's your key. You ain't gonna catch nothing unless they want to eat it. But you know, I was thinking, Lance. Of course, I've had several times in the past. People have told me, said, "Well, isn't that sort of cheating?" You know, having. You know, I like setting my own hook. Doesn't that take the fun out of it? I said, well, you know, you got to look at it this way. Like I said before, if you like to fish that way, you can, by all means. You can still catch a few extra fish just having a couple poles out there, but it isn't so much. Fishing is not about setting a hook, guys. It's not about that. Fishing's about knowing what baits to use, knowing what the river flow is, knowing, you know, the drag on your line. There's so much more to setting a hook when it comes to fishing. The tug's the drug, in my opinion. I like the fight. I like to feel the fight of a fish. That's my drug. But I got to talking to him, and I told him, I said, you know what? You got to look at it like this, too. I remember a buddy of mine that bought a crossbow. Now, I love to deer hunt. I used to love to deer hunt. I don't do so much anymore because I just tired of dragging them big things up and down hills. but I love to bow hunt. I love to get out there in the backyard and practice with my bow. Well, you know, my friends started using crossbows, and I thought, well, that's not even archery. You know, you might as well be shooting a gun. If you're gonna go out and kill a deer in archery season, you know, you should use it. That's not really. So I understand what people say in one way when they think, well, that's different than what I'm used to doing, and it's a little easy. It's too easy. It takes the fun out of it. Just like I thought with bow hunting. But you know what? There's millions of people out there that shoot crossbows, and it isn't about the shot. It really isn't. It's about knowing the deer's habitat, the deer's trails, having the right wind towards you. There's so much more to fishing than just setting a hook.
Also, what you said, you put them on your bonus rods. You're still fishing with yours. It's just some bonus rods sitting there.
But I get
Bring
lazy.
a couple
But I
more
get
in.
lazy sometimes, and I'll put them on all of my rods, and I'll sit back and drink a beer. So it's whatever you like to do. But you know what? Especially when I'm out camping with buddies and we got tents out and we're enjoying each other's talk. Hey, we set our guard dogs up. We sit by the campfire. We'll eat our sandwiches and drink a few coldies and just chit chat. We have a good time, but we still catch fish.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you guys don't have any more questions, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. I got to go make some dinner, figure out what I'm going to cook for dinner. So,
Well, guys, it was great. It was great to be able to talk to you a little bit. I hope I answered some questions. Again, if you have any questions, just contact me or Lance. We'd be glad to help you. Again, if you go to our website, you can see pics, you can see videos, you can see setup demonstrations, you can see whatever you want to see. But we'd be glad to help you.
Thanks.
and also, guys, when you get your guard dogs, you're going to have to put them together. So on the website, there is instructions on how to do that. So,
Well, you have to actually tie the string onto the guard dog and put the little tensioner on it. It doesn't take 2 seconds. I mean, it doesn't take a minute to do it, so it's nothing hard and critical. But there is instructions. There's a little video on how you want to attach your string to it.
all right. Thanks for everybody for coming in. Thank you too for coming up.
Thanks, Lance, for inviting us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And Huckleberry, get with me, buddy. We gotta figure out if you're gonna fish that tournament, that ice fishing tournament. We'll set up some guard dogs too that day. But
Well, hey,
thanks for everybody for coming in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey, God bless everybody.
Bye-bye.